Welcome to FilmIn5D, the show that resonates everything film and the 5D Mark II. I'm your host, Aaron Hammock. This week, I gave you some basic audio tips. So this week we're doing audio tips, and we'll be focusing on the post-production aspect with editing audio. But of course, we covered two system sound in a previous episode, and down the road we'll be talking about some production audio tips. Alright, the first thing I want to talk about is the noise floor, which you've probably already heard of.
Not really.
You haven't heard of the noise floor? You hear that?
Yeah. That's
Sucks, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's jump over to Adobe Audition and show you how to remove it. Alright, so here we are in Adobe Audition. Now, of course, you can use any program of your pleasing to remove noise. But I like Audition because of how visual it is, which you'll see here in a second. Right now, we're looking at a waveform from a previous audio clip. And if you click and drag this bar up, you can get a better look at the noise. Now, there are several methods to do this, but my favorite is by selecting the area from top to bottom where there is absolute silence. So you're isolating the noise and removing it digitally throughout the rest of the clip. Once you have your area selected, capture the noise print by pressing Shift+P or clicking the Effects tab and scrolling down to the noise reduction. After you capture the noise print, you need to process the reduction by going into the same tab or by pressing Ctrl-Shift-P. Now, when this tab is open, you can remove the noise by selecting the entire file, and I like to put my noise reduction between 50% and 80%, depending on how bad the noise was, and the reduction factor to 40 decibels. You can see some of my other settings here, but really you should just mess around with it yourself, and after all your settings are where you want them to be, hit apply. And as you can see, the noise has been removed. Now you want to be careful not to push this too far or your actors will end up sounding like they're in a tunnel. And while I'm sure many of you already know this, make sure that whenever you're working with sound, use headphones. It really helps you to hear all the imperfections. So the next tip I have for you is both an audio and an editing tip. And it's called an L or a J cut.
LJ.
Yeah. Anyways, I use these for conversation pieces. For example, here's a conversation between Colton and myself during one of our Christmas themed skits. Let's listen in. In fact, why don't you write me a nice poem and read it next to me by the fire?
All right, man. You could have just said no.
No, man, seriously, what a great idea you had there. Afterwards, we can go walk in the snow with our warm, hot chocolates. As you can see, the talking was very back and forth and actually seemed natural because of the editing techniques involved. The way this is accomplished is by overlapping the audio tracks so that one subject begins their line before the camera switches to them. This is what's known as a J cut. Here you can see the audio from the second angle is overlapping with the first angle, forming the shape of a J. So the J cut is the one that allows your dialogue to flow with better pacing. But an L cut basically shows your audience the reaction of one of your characters to what the other one is saying. Here we have an L cut, and you can see that the audio from the first shot is overlapping into the second shot, and thus you get the reaction from the person in the second shot before they say their line. Now obviously you can use these two techniques for any projects, but I find that I tend to use J cuts for comedy and L cuts for drama/tense situations. And the final audio tip I have for you today is rather simple but effective as well. When I first got the H4n for audio recording, I was having some issues with clicks and pops at the ends and beginnings of clips. So I finally came up with a solution that, while tedious, will definitely fix this issue. So in post, when I have two audio clips next to each other, particularly with dialogue, I will offset the clips and extend the second one by 3 frames. I will then fade out the first clip through 2 frames and fade in the second clip over 3 frames. This will help remove any pops or clicks and also allows you to tighten things up a bit. I found that this issue with clicks and pops occurs because usually when you make a cut, the audio is either on the up or down slope of the wave, and thus it's rarely right in the middle. Though sometimes it is, and if that's the case, you don't have to worry. But if your audio waveform is on the up or down slope, you can use the fade in or fade out method I just showed you. But that's it for this week. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to me via @mentions on twitter.com/AaronHammock. You can follow the show's Twitter at FilmIn5D. We post some interesting things and opinions there. Or if you're on Facebook, you can like our page at facebook.com/FilmIn5D. And we'll be back next week with the Canon 5D Mark III.
Wait, did I miss something?
What?
Mark III.
Yeah, you got it. Canon hit me up. They're like, hey, can you do a little thing on your show? We'll give you 5D Mark III for free.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious. I just didn't know what we're doing next week, so.
Oh man, you had me excited. I thought we had some information or something.
I know, dude. That'd be cool. I can pretend. I could do an episode pretending that I know everything. Oh, it has 4K video. Oh, it has this. It has that. It's going to cost this much. But like all those other people do. But I'm not gonna do that. Even though I kind of just did. See you next week. Oh my god. Oh my god.